This message is for all the men out there that choose to date a single mom and think that because you are dating a single mom that we need your help or your assistance, or that you're taking on all the kids that come with us. I don't know what's up with these guys out here, and I'm dating and I'm new to this, and I'm a single mom, a successful businesswoman that doesn't necessarily need your help. The only thing that I need your help with is to be my man and consistency and show up in the relationship. But for some reason, as I'm out here in these dating freaking streets, I'm talking to these boys and they're telling.
Notice how she said boys. She didn't say men. So she wants to be clear as far as who she's speaking to. She's not speaking to men. She's speaking to boys.
Telling me that, oh, well, you have to understand what comes along with you having 3 kids. You have to understand what comes along with you being a single mother. I'm getting extremely frustrated because nobody is out here dating and saying, hey, I want you to come take care of my family.
I think there needs to be understanding on both sides, both men and women. Let's be honest. If you are a single mother or a single father, that's a difficult task for anybody to be able to come into that picture. When you out here dating, you can't expect everyone to think the same because it is a unique situation.
What I am asking for is a relationship. And I think that if you are a man who is dating a single mother, yes, you have to understand that you are not just dating her. You're probably dating her kids too. But if you are a strong, an alpha, a real freaking man, you're not going to talk about the fact that, oh, dating you come with all.
What does alpha have to do with this situation? Alpha plays no role. This is a difficult task for any man. Even if he was an alpha, sigma, beta, whoever he is, it is difficult to date anyone with children. And that's on both sides.
Of these things, unless you don't have it, you have nothing to come with. Like, if you're not in a good enough position to take on me and my 3 kids, then don't talk to me. You're just not my guy. That doesn't mean that every man out there, because I've had boyfriends, that doesn't mean that every.
Even if you think about it, man, it's not a lot of men. I think the average is like $50,000 to $60,000 a year. So that means that most men that date you will not be able to afford you and those 3 children. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it'll be a difficult task. So if you're operating out of a small pool of men that are even qualified to be able to take care of you and your 3 kids, I'm only going off what you're saying thus far, not including your income. But if you're looking for a man to solely be able to provide for you and your 3 children, that may be a hard ask.
Men out there cannot take on a woman with children. And it's frustrating because I'm like, if these are the conversations that I'm having with men, what are my single mom friends out here having with men? This is so frustrating. The audacity that these guys feel like they can tell me, well, you have to know what you're coming with. Well, you have to recognize that it's not just you. You have 3 kids. As if I don't know that I'm a mother with 3 children. Is really frustrating, and I'm trying to keep my cool and not like snap and anything.
I think people need to understand how difficult it is to date, man. A lot of folks do not know how to date, and that's the problem. So when you throw in some other variables like children, it just makes this whole process so much complicated. That's the reason why you hear a lot of people preaching about the nuclear family. It is very important, man. If you keep the family together and you try your best to vet properly, and you just align together, you won't have to deal with this, man. Dating sucks. I'm telling you guys, dating sucks. So be careful who you lay down with.
These guys when I'm talking to them, but it's extremely frustrating to know that because I'm a mom, you're looking at me differently. As you should in a certain way, but you shouldn't for once ever have the audacity that I can't catch a man, or I can't catch a date, or I can't catch a husband because I have 3 kids. That's your perspective. So when I'm married, walking down the aisle with my man who takes on me and my beautiful daughters, your sorry ass will be sitting there wondering, how the hell, it wasn't you. It wasn't you.
As I said before, man, I really think that dating is complicated in itself. So whenever you add some children into the equation, it does make it difficult. You can't be mad at how people view single mothers, because there are some people that don't want to deal with it, just like there are women who don't want to deal with men with children. It's a fair perspective. I'm not mad at you. But the only issue that I have is when people are complaining about these folks. They're not lying. They're not lying. It is difficult. And I'm speaking up off experience, man. Whenever you go out here and you date somebody and you have to factor in those kids, that's a hard task to ask for any man coming to this situation. Just listening to this conversation reminds me of a video about a couple years ago that Kevin Samuels did. I'm gonna go ahead and play this video and I want you guys to listen to this. But before we go to the video, if you haven't already, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to the channel.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
How old are you?
30.
All right, so single mothers, high value men in marriage. What do you got?
Okay, so I had called into your show one day last week. I am married. I've been married for 5 years, but when I did come into my marriage, I did have a child
Okay.
when I got with my spouse.
Okay.
My son was 3 at the time. Um, his father, I lost my virginity to. He was the only person I had been with. And then when things were finished with that relationship, I kind of made it up in my mind like that it would just be me and my son, because I kind of assumed, like, just thinking about everything that went on with the relationship, that like what man would want to deal with this. Like it seemed
Okay.
like it was a headache. It was a headache for me dealing with it, and I was in it.
I often hear this all the time, man, and especially women that's on YouTube and listening to these podcasts. They always feel as though that they don't have any value because they have a child. Every situation is always situational. It doesn't necessarily mean that whatever outcome that this woman has that you're going to have. It's all situational. But people get up into this panic, this uproar because they have a child. If you made one mistake, one child, I think it'd be much easier for you to find somebody versus someone that may have 3 or 4 kids. And that's just the reality of the situation.
Okay.
So I just was like, well, if it's just going to be me and my son till he gets older, then that's just what it's going to be. But it just so happened that a high school sweetheart of mine, we kind of ended up reconnecting, and so and just things just went from there, and
So
everything was fine.
so did you just want to tell your story or do you have a question?
Well, I guess so. My question, I guess, for you, as far as the hope for the single woman with the child, because I know that you told the girl that was the basketball player, you were telling her that basically, if she gave full custody of her son to the
Okay.
father,
I need
then
you. What I need you to do is I allowed you to tell your story. I need you to be specific. What's the
I'm
question?
sorry. Okay, specifically, my question is, um,
I had a conversation with someone earlier and we were speaking about this very thing about how people just be over explaining, just be rambling and just be talking too much. Just get straight to it. Just get straight to it. It's easier for the listener to be able to keep up with you, to be able to get straight to the point, provide information that's needed. But anytime that you're rambling and you trying to gather your thoughts, and I get it, it may be nerves, but the quicker you can get to your point, the quicker you can get your problem solved.
what would is that the only way that you see it working for a single mother, is by
Okay. All right. See. Okay. You married a guy you knew from high school. That's what I'm hearing.
Mhm. Yes,
Did he have any children?
yes,
Was he married previously?
no.
Notice what was just said right there. That's very valuable information. In the vetting process, I'm assuming she must probably be in her 20s, maybe mid 20s, 30s around this time when she got with this guy. But she said that he had a child and that he wasn't married. I'm not saying that he had to be married, but if you do operate upon the biblical principles and or you may be religious, then you may want to vet somebody that was married. and not just out here having kids. And I understand people make mistakes, but if you want to play this game in dating, you have to try to maximize your potential in who you are recruiting by paying attention to these key details. He has a child and he is not married and he is with her. Now, this could be a good thing for her, seeing how she already has a child. Typically, people that have children have an understanding of what it's like, but that's going to all depend on how active he is with that child. So I'm hoping, I haven't heard the rest of this yet, but I'm hoping that she has a good idea. Even though he has a child, she has a good idea of the man that she's getting to know and getting involved with.
How many children does he have?
2.
Did he go to? Did your husband go to college?
Yes.
Now, what does he do for a living?
He owns a health insurance company.
Okay. And how many children? How many mothers of the kids?
1.
All right. So you got one kid. And you married a man with 2 kids.
Yeah.
I think Kevin made a mistake there. If I was following the story correctly, he had a child before her, and I think he had a child with her. And so that's the reason why he have 2 different children, but he had one children's mother before entering the marriage, the relationship with her. You guys let me know if I'm wrong on that, but if I'm following it correctly, that's how it looked to me, or at least sounded like to me.
All right. That woman was talking about she wanted a man with no kids.
Right.
So I don't understand what you're saying.
Well,
It's
see,
almost
because
like it's
did
almost like you
kind of.
ladies. It's almost like well, it worked out for me, all right. But I'm gonna ask you. Well, I'm not gonna say because I don't want to mess up anybody's home. But oftentimes a woman doesn't choose a man with 2 kids as their first choice.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
so yeah, y'all can get together and make the Brady Bunch, and that works.
Right.
But we wouldn't recommend this now, would we?
Notice how I talk about maximizing your potential as far as when it comes to vetting. And so what Kevin is saying right here is that typically we don't tell women to go and date a man with kids. You want to date a man who has no kids, especially when you have no kids, so you guys can come together as one and you guys can create that nuclear family. So that's what Kevin is saying, is that this is what we typically will preach to our daughters and to our women.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. And that's my point. Just because it happened, you met somebody who was in high school and you guys may have clicked, kudos to you. But ma'am, you got to realize that's in the minority of the situation.
Absolutely. And I kind of did with what you recommended to her, which was my son primarily lives with his father.
Uh-huh. Go
And
ahead.
so that's another part of the reason why I kind of supported what you said to her, because I feel like that kind of helps my
Okay.
scenario work.
Diana, how are you? Hold on. Essence.
So that very end right there, she's saying that basically her son is not in the house. So it kind of helps her situation because now she can bring somebody else in and he can be a husband and not have to deal with her son because her son is primarily with the father. It may help your home situation, but the mindset, the mentality within that household, it doesn't help that because that son is still there regardless whether he's with his father or not. And you're his mother, so there's going to be some interaction. So it doesn't soften up the load. It doesn't put you into a better place as far as your situation comes, in my opinion. And the reason why I say that is because the son still has to come around. The son still has to meet the husband. The son still, if you guys, let's just say the child is graduating, you guys all got to come together and you guys got to go to the graduation depending on the relationship that you guys have within the dynamic of it, right? But it doesn't soften it up. You're not a childless mother. You're not a childless woman. That your son still exists. He's just with the father. So if any man was to ask you if you have any kids, just say, yes, I have kids. If it comes up later in the situation where, okay, well, what does that situation look like? Where's the father? Then you can explain to it, but never lead with, I kind of sort of have a child, he's primarily with his father. I'm not saying that she said that here, but I just want you guys to focus on the point of it doesn't change a situation. A child is a child.
Get somebody else in here.
I'm
Diane?
good. How are you?
Good. How old are you?
I am 43.
All right. So, what do you got for me on this
So
subject?
I agree with you 110%. Being a single mother is ridiculously hard on the dating market. I have 3 kids. I was married for 16 years. 2 of the kids are from marriage and they're now adults. And then I also have another child who's a daughter. She
Mm-hmm.
is 9 years old.
Mm.
And like I said, I agree with you 110%. I have to give 110% more than somebody besides my age, but somebody who doesn't have children, because children are a liability. And like you said, it's my child, not that person's child. And when
Mm.
someone comes in and dates me, like you said, I know I exactly say that. I'm like, I know that me having a child that is not yours, you are losing more than gaining anything,
Mm-hmm.
and so, like I
Diana,
said,
hold
you
on
have
just a
to
second.
put.
Diana, hold
Mhm.
on just a second. Essence. Essence.
Yes.
If you are a woman out there listening to both of you guys speak, whose point of view or advice would you think would be more helpful?
Hers, for sure.
Right. Yours is, hey, it could work out, but hers is realistic.
Right, absolutely.
One of the problems today with modern women is you guys have a problem hurting women. I don't want her to hurt her feelings. I don't want her to feel bad. I don't want her to feel, and you need to tell women the truth. Don't do this because it has consequences, many of which you may not want to pay.
I agree with Kevin there, man. I can appreciate hearing Kevin's perspective here because I think people who love to tell the truth about a situation keep telling that truth because that's how we balance it all out, right? If you keep hearing kumbaya moments all the time, then people are going to think fairy tales exist all around. And that's just not the reality of the situation. So with Kevin keeping it real and letting her know how it is, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. It is a difficult task for single women to date. That's just the reality of it. Now, can it work? Absolutely, it can work. That's dependent on the person. But most people will not sign up for it. And it may not have anything to do with you necessarily, but you don't know how the children are going to respond and react in these moments, man. You got to factor in the kids. That kid can be a straight a-hole towards that husband. You don't know. He may like him, he may not like him. They may like him, they may not like him. It may become, you guys may have difficult situations that come just the fact that you have children. For an example, I'll give you an example, right? What if that child comes and says, um, your husband did something, or he said the wrong thing, or he put his hands on him? That just changes up the whole dynamic of the situation. So that's the reason why I'm saying the reality and the truth of it is that most people will not want to sign up for it. They just don't. They just won't.
Absolutely.
And I want to point out that I went to college. I have a master's degree. I make really good money, and again, I've
I'm a
listened to your
PhD.
show over and over, and that doesn't matter. So
Mm-hmm.
I want you to know that. So that is 100% true as well.
Appreciate it, ladies. Thank you very much. Bye bye. See, I was just talking to somebody earlier, and one of the biggest problems today is women are in a position to deal with a lot of hurt, anger, rejection, confusion, and frustration in their adult years. And why is that? Because you've been lied to. The movies have lied to you. Disney has lied to you. Your parents have kept hard truths from you. I was telling this friend of mine that when I was in school, we used to have special ed. Kids in school who were a little bit slower than the norm had special ed. They didn't in fourth grade, they had fourth grade special ed, et cetera, et cetera. Those kids rode on their own bus. But at recess, everybody's in the same recess and physical education class. And those kids had to learn how to be socialized with us. They had to learn their place on the playground. While I was going to college, one guy was going to become a janitor at the mall. And guess what? He's still there. A fully functioning adult man who lives in an apartment, has his car, no wife, no kids, happy as all get out and go. Because they didn't coddle him. They told him, we all have limitations. And today we're telling women that there are no limits. And the problem is the men aren't buying it. The men aren't buying it. Children are a massive limitation.
I agree with Kevin, man. I think that a lot of people need to understand that your reality is your reality, right? If you made some mistakes in your younger years or even adult years, you got to live with it. There's always consequences, no matter what you do in life. And because there's always consequences, if you make a bad decision, whatever comes with it, it is what it is. You can't be mad at the world on how they view you because the world has its own set of rules, its own reality. And if you are in that sunken place, if you are delusional, if you're living in that Disney world, you're going to be butthurt. You're going to be butthurt because you wasn't prepared for it. And like Kevin said, you never had nobody tell you the truth. Now, we're not saying that it can't happen. I'm not saying that you can't get with somebody. But typically, most men do not want to sign up for that task. It's difficult. And so if you're not trying to be understanding of the various things that can come up while dating with children, then maybe you shouldn't be dating. You should be focusing more on your child anyway, or your children. I think one of the issues in the Black community is that a lot of us don't focus on our children enough. We have a lot of technology right there that seems to be replacing parenting. If you have one child, you should be spending a lot of time with that child. Activities, sports, reading with them, physical communication with them, meaning going outside, riding bikes. It just requires a lot of time. And I get it. You may have to go and work, but that child didn't ask to be here. So even if you have to go to work, you got to come home and you still have to show up for that child the same way you show up for your job. The same way where you be on time for your job, be on time for them kids. They need it. That's one of the biggest problems that we have in our community now, is that we are not prioritizing our responsibilities. And children are a big responsibility. Also, this just shows how important vetting is. Your vetting, you're not going to always get it 100% correct, but you want to try to minimize the risk. You want to try to maximize your potential. The red flags are there. The information is out there. You listen to the information right now. You seeing it in real time. But yet you still go out there and you still choose to be with the wrong person. That's shame on you. And I get it. Some people, they do like to play games. Some people get you. It's unfortunate. It's still part of the game. It's a hard reality that a lot of people have to swallow. That's why we try to tell you to get it done a little bit earlier, right? But even if you are out here dating people, these people have baggage. They've been out here dating for 20 plus years. And they like 43 years old right now. You think they don't have no baggage? Of course they do. And you want to know how we know this? Because you guys are dating now. You guys are dating. So that means that whomever that they was dating before you, it didn't work out. That's all you need to know. So there has to be a level of understanding that needs to be put into play when you guys are dating. And that's across the board. Like, share, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.